Hey guys, Dalton here at Gear Precision. A while back I posted a video about the Elf Tactical 700 SE trigger. In that video we discussed the features of it, the things that I put it through to try to break it. I know I didn't do the best in trying to add the video of me beating on it and the torture test I put it through, trying to break it and see its limits. Bear with me on that. I'm trying to get better at things like that. My next few videos that I do that with products, I will try to add that in the best I can and make things look good. But today we're going to take that same trigger and we're going to get a little more up close with it. We're going to take it apart. You're going to be able to see the internals. You're going to see the bolt release bar that you can take out yourself. And we're going to talk about the trigger springs and the weight adjustments on that. A lot of your videos that show the ELF trigger, they talk about installing it onto an action, and that's about it. So today we're going to talk about the bolt release bar. The reason being is there's actions out there, the Remington 700, you need the little bar on the trigger to remove the bolt. Then you got custom actions like mine that's getting ready to come out. The bolt release is on the side of the action, on the opposite side of the port. So when you have a custom action, like we'll throw some others out there, something like a Defiance or a Bergera or my custom action, that should be out within February. Everything's on the side, so you don't need that bolt. It's just going to be in the way or it won't install properly. So we'll talk about that, taking that out, and we will talk about doing the spring weight adjustments and removing the springs and putting a heavier one in. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so here's the trigger as it comes in the package. As you can see here, it already comes with the curved trigger shoe on and the bolt release bar for the Remington 700 actions already installed. Now they do have an option if you order directly from them that you can either have it with the bolt release bar in or with it out. But say that you order it, you're not really thinking, make a mistake, and it comes and it has the bolt release bar in it and you want to take it out, we'll demonstrate that, as well as the trigger spring. So down here is your second shoe. It's the flat trigger shoe, and then you've got your safety lever here as well. So there's three things that I suggest having, and one is a 1/16 or 1/16 hex key wrench. The other one is a 3/32 Allen wrench and flathead screwdrivers. The reason that I suggest the flathead screwdrivers is that's the best way to take off the cover to get that bar out. So we get this open up, or you get it open up, and you're realizing that you don't need the bar and it's already in there. So you're going to take your 1/16 Allen wrench. We're going to take that screw out. And this is where a flathead, and you want a small one, good sized, or not a good sized one, because the good size it's going to be hard to get up in there. You want it to be nice and small. Where I usually start is somewhere up by the sear. You don't have to put a lot of pressure on these to get it open. It's going to be a little stiff your first time, but if you're doing this a couple of times, it really kind of loosens up and makes it easier as you do it. But we're just going to slide that up in here, and it might get hard for you to see for a second, so I can just properly, get a good grip on this to get it taken apart. But I like to put my hand over it, that way if there's a little bit of tension, you can kind of control it coming off. And I just worked my way down. As you saw, this side kind of came up and this side stayed down. So I just worked my way down here until it came off. I had it off, but I think I might have pushed it back down on accident talking. So we'll do a little bit more wiggling. There we go. Okay, so there it is. Now, when you take this off, that's how the bolt release bar sits on there. It's pretty easy. It doesn't catch on anything. And on the housing cover, it has a little groove that it actually sits in. So that way it can't move around, slide, catch on something and cause any issues. So if you need it, it's there, and it's in there with good quality. It's not just free floating around in there on the housing right there. But it's as simple as just taking that apart. Now, here's one thing, and at first it confused me until I was able to talk to him. It comes with a set of springs in different weights and packages. Each package comes with 2 springs. You've got your lightest trigger, your lightest weight already in the trigger. Then your next one is 1.8 pounds, and then the next one is 2 pounds. This is the one you're going to need if you need 2 pounds or heavier. Each trigger spring, or each package, comes with 2 springs. And if you look inside the housing, you see a spring here for your weight adjustment, and you see one right here up against your sear. You do not touch this one here. You do not need that. All that spring is there for is basically a little return spring for that sear. So when that bolts in and you pull the trigger, that spring pushes that up to cause the fire, or to cause the strike with the firing pin. So do not touch that. You don't need to. The only reason you need to take this apart is to remove that little bolt release bar. So since we got it apart, we'll just leave it apart for this little show. We're going to grab our 2 pound spring. So the reason they come with 2 springs that same weight is in case you lose one. Sometimes it happens. Little springs are easy to lose. Any part's easy to lose, but if you got a spring, something happens and it shoots off for some reason, you never know. So it's as simple as that. This is your weight adjustment area, and that's your screw. Just sits right in there, comes right out as you saw. One thing they do recommend is once you replace the spring, maybe add a little bit of Loctite here. If that's something you want to do, I'd really suggest finding your tension and then count how many screws or how many twists it takes to pull that screw out. And that way when you tighten it back in, when you get, say you're happy with it and it takes 5 full turns to pull that out, when you do 5 full turns in, it should be right there at your weight adjustment. So that way when that Loctite dries up, you don't have to break it loose to try to adjust your tension. It should be right there at that same weight adjustment. I personally won't do it. That way I can just play with weights. I don't think it's a big issue. I haven't had any problems with these triggers. They're absolutely great. So this is the 2 pound trigger, which is the lightest setting. Just slide it in there like that. Actually, I'll put it back over here so you can see a little bit better. Took the old one out and just put it right back in there. And then put that back in. It's as simple as that. When you get done, you'll just take your housing, set it right back down, and you're good to go. Don't forget about that screw, because that's what keeps it together. Alright guys, it's that simple. Just a quick little screw and you get to adjust your weight. So say if you want to keep this in your rifle and you decide that the spring's too heavy, you don't have to take your rifle apart. You can just reach up in there with your little Allen wrench, pull that out, put the screw that you want in, and then just put that back up in there. That was their design to make things a lot easier for us. I think it's great. It works well, and hope that covered everything for you guys. If you have any more questions, just go ahead and post it in the comments. I have a social media account on Facebook and Instagram. Both of those have my email. Should both have my number as well. So if you need anything, just shoot me an email or a call, and I can help you with any questions you may have with the ELF trigger. Thank you.